The Muscatine City Council will come to order. Fran, would you do a roll call, please?
Councilmembers Raywald.
Present.
Fitzgerald.
Present.
Natfig.
Present.
Shahade. Bynum.
Present.
Phillips.
Present.
Spread.
Present.
6 present and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Very good, Fran, thank you. Folks, would you rise and join me in our Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and welcome everyone. And if we have a fire in City Hall, we're in good shape tonight.
Don't have any equipment. It's across the street. Oh, okay.
Item number 4 on our agenda before we get to any comments made by citizens. And Andrew, would you meet me at the podium, please? Folks, we're going to swear in a brand-new police officer tonight.
Firefighter.
Firefighter.
Or, I'm sorry. Firefighters. So Andrew, if you
Detail.
will,
New city employee.
Oh, she's fine.
are you a firefighter or a police officer? Firefighter. Okay, let's get on with this. I, Andrew McSorley, do solemnly swear,
Thank you.
raise your right hand,
Mayor, too.
that I will support the constitutions of the United States
Lost my drift.
and the state of Iowa,
and the state of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all duties
discharge all duties
of firefighter in the city of Muscatine, Iowa,
of firefighter in the city
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter by required by law.
And if you would just, I'm gonna borrow it.
Don's got his pen.
Sign right here. Good job, good job. If you would introduce yourself to council.
Prepared tonight or what?
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Andrew.
Congratulations, good luck. Look forward to it.
He's a firefighter, not a police officer. Okay. Okay, if there's anyone in council chambers that has an issue or an item that they'd like to discuss with council that is not included on tonight's agenda, now would be the time to come to the podium, give us your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Get your watch out. Time me.
Roger, are you coming to the podium? Okay.
Roger Roth, Clark House. We had a discussion during the last representative meeting concerning the tenant computers. During the middle of that week, I heard rumors they were not going to change what they have now. That's why you got the notice from me. I'd like to bring it before you and the people as follows. There was a time when the Clark House tenant computers, I would call it the CHTC, were available 24 hours. Since the situation to call the 12-hour only status to occur is no longer there, thus the need to reinstate them to their 24-hour status. Need to restate the CHTC situation to its former 24-hour status as we have a trained weather spotter that will need it at any time the weather gets bad, to also include our in-house college student and others. That would include healthcare providers like nurses who use the computer, have to turn it off at the tower to keep the Privacy Act available and then turn it back on at any time of the day. the disadvantage of not going back to the 24-hour status that can be turned on via the tower. This is unacceptable since damage to the system, like files, can occur at any time. This will cause a city computer repairman to show. The other reason for the tower to be turned off on are those that visit the tenants, like I have explained. This always, again, keeps the danger to the system available. The alternate to the above problem, and I checked with the library, to convert the system to the Musser Public Library system, because we're using their old computers, which is better for the tenants. They can read the words better because they seem to be a little larger. Where the system itself automatically turns off, then reboots itself when a person is done using it. And thus, not only keeping the Privacy Act intact for those that use it for such reason, but to also keep the tower damage from occurring. The Clark House tenants were promised 2 to replace. They only got 1 right now. To replace the Dinosaur system of the mid-1900s. The alleged information we get from City Housing is that for both in place, there will be a serious competition for both of them. The sad thing is there's serious competition for the one because the second one isn't there. The Hershey Manor tenants, I heard from one of them, said their computers were removed. A lot of them use it, yet they can't use it anymore. I would like to see it back in place for them. I said even to council, what if one of them want to get a recipe for their grandkids because they lost their original? Computer's one way to do it. I thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Roger. Anyone else in council chambers wish to address council? Hi there, can you give us your name and address?
Yes, my name's Autumn Harris. I live at 819 Cedar Street. We live on the corner of 9th and Cedar, and on your agenda tonight for item M, I believe, you guys are discussing changing the street from the two-way to a one-way from Mulberry Avenue to Cedar Street. Well, right on the corner where we live, we have one driveway that can only take one car, and my husband and I each have a car. And I know when the street changes to one-way, the parking will be taken away, which would be a huge issue for us since we have 2 cars and only a single-car driveway. And the
Assuming your parking space is on the 9th Street side.
it is, yes. And all the blocks around us, there's no parking on Cedar Street across from our house. And then the parking in front of our house, there's a, no parking here to corner sign. So then the first available space actually goes to our neighbors because all the streets on Cedar Street going towards 8th, none of them have driveways. So they all have to have street parking. So we're very limited to where we can go. We'd probably have to park at least a block, if not 2 away. And we have 2 little kids, and, bringing kids and groceries to the house and walking that far it's quite an issue, especially since we've been there 8 years and we have become accustomed to the street parking. So I just wanted to bring that before you tonight, before you make your decisions, and let you know that as a citizen of Muscatine, we do have an issue there, and it is going to be quite an issue for us here soon. So any questions for me before I sit down?
I have one.
Yes.
How close is the new school parking lot to your garage?
It's about 200 yards. Yeah.
It's quite a ways away.
Yeah, there's a drainage field, I think, that the school has set up between the parking lot and our house, and then our yard, of course.
Okay.
So, anything else?
Had you brought it to anybody else's attention prior to tonight?
Yes, we talked to the school board at their last meeting, and we'd been to some of the school meetings they set up for the neighborhood around 9th Street as the project was progressing. So, yeah.
So what did the school board tell you?
They said that when they brought this as an agenda item for you guys, that they would have an addendum on there asking you to consider our plight. But I don't see it written on the agenda, but just so you know, that's what they had said. They were concerned for us. They were very considerate, and whether they meant to say more or not, I don't know. But I know they were very kind during the meeting, but here we are. So.
Your Honor, I think Randy can address the topic.
Randy, you want to?
can address it now, or we wait till it comes up on the agenda.
Well, let's do it now. Go ahead.
We are aware of Mr. and Ms. Harris' situation. They've made a request to the traffic committee requesting resident-only parking. We don't do that. We haven't done that any place in town, and we don't want to do it here. There is on-street parking available on Cedar, but it's crowded. I mean, I don't disagree with what Ms. Harris is saying. However, we had a traffic meeting on Tuesday, and Autumn had been invited to the meeting and was not able to attend. But at that time, the school district does have an option to expand the parking for the Harrises on their property. And I think that if Autumn and her husband would visit with Jeff Miller, who is representing the school district, to talk about that a little bit more, I do think that this would help with their situation as far as having two vehicles and having to place them or park them off-street, so.
Okay.
So we're gonna hear that,
Pardon me?
we're gonna hear more about that?
I don't know that we necessarily need to hear more about it. I think, you know, if this is something that the Harrises don't agree to, then their objection stands as to why we shouldn't change this to a one-way street because they're going to lose on-street parking. So,
Just to be clear, the school has offered to put in a second parking space on their property.
yes.
Jeff, you want to address this as well?
Because frankly, when we talked about 9th Street earlier on, a year ago or whenever we closed it down, if there was any problem with what we did with that intersection or that roadway that would cause a problem for the residents, I'm not in favor of it. So if it's going to be a one-way and you're not going to accommodate them, then I'm not in favor of the one-way. We'll keep it two-lane to all the opposed traffic.
Okay,
I
well,
understand why you want, I understand all the concept with the one-way and the kids been dropped off, but I think the accommodation needs to be made.
Jeff, your full name and your position with the school system.
I'm Jeff Miller. I am in charge of facilities and maintenance for the Mustine Community School District. The reason the Harrises have not heard about this was I was going to address it with Autumn because she was on the agenda for Tuesday's traffic committee meeting, and for whatever reason, probably a conflict, I don't know, I was going to pull her aside so that they didn't have to maybe waste their time and come down here and we could avoid this. The school board has given the okay, or the superintendent, I should say, has given the okay for me to sit down with the Harrises and talk. My schedule has not worked out to visit with them until I've seen them tonight. So we are on board to try and help them out. We want to be good neighbors as the school district, okay? We don't want to make this any more difficult than it already has been for everybody. I appreciate them for dealing with the construction and everything else on 9th Street. They've been great. The neighbor on the other end has been great. I have gone to bat for them in the past, and we've had conversations. So we are ready to move forward with that proposal if they accept it. And I didn't think it was something that we needed to throw on your lap. That's why I was hoping that they could show up to the traffic committee.
Well, it is a city street.
Sure. No, but I understand. But we discussed it at the traffic committee about adding this possibly to help, confuse council or confuse them. And so, no, they have not been made aware of it, Mr. Fitzgerald.
So what happens at the other end? He has a driveway that,
I've already talked to him. He has no problem with it becoming a one-way.
are you adding anything to his property?
Nope. He has not asked. He's fine with everything.
Okay.
Folks, are you okay with visiting with Mr. Miller? Sure. Come on up to the podium.
I'm Joe Harris. I live at 819 Cedar Street, of course.
Hi, Dale.
I'd like to see it talked about tonight because throughout the whole process, we've always been told things aren't set in stone. We can't tell you right now. It's a city street, so we have no say in it. So I'd like to kind of see it resolved or talked about tonight, since it's a city street, you know, and kind of get it out on the open. As far as no parking on the street and the concrete pad, we really appreciate that. Anything would be good. But we also would like you to take into account maybe parking for a guest. You know, 2 cars for us would be great, but if we have guests and stuff, where are they going to park? I don't know. You got anything else to say?
Pretty much the same, you know, I mean, if we have a babysitter come and both of our cars are there, then, you know, that would make it inconvenient if there's only a spot for 2 cars. You know, and we're not asking the moon, we're not looking for anybody to give us a big fat handout or anything, but, you know, we lived there 8 years and we knew that we would have street parking, of course, because 8 years ago there was never any talk of any change like this. So, and I know the neighbor at the other end, I think they can fit 3 or 4 cars in their driveway. They've got a pretty big driveway. We have one driveway for 1 car, and so it really puts us at a disadvantage. And
Do you have any ideas about this project to share with Mr. Miller?
Yeah.
Before we address it.
So here's what I would suggest. If you would just take maybe a few minutes tonight, and Jeff, if you could take a few minutes and get with these folks and maybe share with them some of the traffic committee notes or whatever, and see if you can come to a resolution here this evening.
yeah, we can
Okay.
do that. And I just want to say, I would have been at that traffic committee meeting, but I did not have a babysitter. I have 2 children. I'm a stay-at-home
quite all
mom.
right.
Husband couldn't get time off work. He's got a great job, so, yeah, otherwise we would have taken that step as well.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else in council chambers? Okay, moving along to item 5, which is the consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes items 6A through B, items 8A through G, item 9A, item 12A, and tonight's bills totaling $2,847,975.24?
So move.
Bob?
Second.
And second, Mike. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Okay, a couple pages later, we're down to item 7, which is public hearing. This public hearing concerns the proposed T-Hanger Road Connector project at the municipal airport. Funding has been received from the Iowa Department of Transportation for this project. The engineer has completed the design work, and the project is ready to move forward to the bidding process. Prior to any formal action by City Council, a public hearing is required. Now is the time for the public to comment. Anyone in council chambers care to discuss? Is there a motion to close? Scott, and a second? Second, Tom. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Excuse me.
Okay, down to item 11 from the city administrator. 11A, presented for city council's consideration is a request to approve the new ambulance service fee schedule. Ambulance charges are reviewed annually and changed in accordance with Wellmark's maximum allowable fee, or MAF. The MAF rates will go into effect July 1st, 2015. Is there a motion to approve this request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Tom?
Second.
And a second, Jeanette. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Item B, presented for city council's consideration is the first reading of an ordinance amending Title II Boards and Commissions to include Chapter 11 Convention and Visitors Bureau. Is there a motion to approve the first reading of the ordinance as submitted?
So moved.
Scott? Second, anyone?
Second?
Second, Mike. Any discussion? This would be a roll call, beginning with Scott.
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Jeanette?
Aye.
And Bob?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Item C, which is a resolution approving the plan, specifications, form of contract, cost estimate, and setting the bid opening date for the T-Hanger Connector Road project. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So move.
Mike? Second?
Second, Your Honor.
Second, Phil. Any discussion? Also a roll call, beginning with Mike.
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Jeanette?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
And Phil?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Item D, presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution setting a public hearing for the Diana Queen Drive construction project. Construction of a roadway between Diana Queen Drive and Steamboat Way is being recommended to provide a detour route for the Mulberry Reconstruction Project to make the attraction of residential development more desirable and to allow for the construction of a sidewalk linking Steamboat Way to Diana Queen Drive to enhance emergency responses and to allow for more efficient snow removal. Any formal action by City Council, a public hearing is required. This hearing will take place on Thursday, July 2nd, 2015 at 7 p.m. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved.
I'll give that to Bob and second Jeanette. Any discussion? This is a roll call, beginning with Bob.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Phil.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
And Jeanette.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Item E, presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution awarding the contract for the 2015 asphalt overlay program. 3 bids were received with a low bid from Iowa Investment Incorporated in the amount of $548,070.80. There is $600,000 budgeted for the overlay work. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Tom, and a second, Scott. Any discussion? None, and so beginning with Tom,
Aye.
Jeanette,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Phil,
Aye.
and Mike.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Item F, presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution awarding the contract for the 2015 sidewalk construction project. 2 bids were received with the low bid from All American Concrete in the amount of $149,762. The engineer's estimate was $128,878, which included a contingency. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Phil, second, anyone?
Second.
Second, Scott. Any discussion? Roll call, beginning with Phil.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
Jeanette.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
And Scott.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Item G, presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution authorizing the assessment of unpaid abatement costs to private properties. Periodically, the city takes action to assess unpaid nuisance abatement costs and rental inspection fees to private properties. The fee being requested for assessment at this time totals $6,389.75. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved.
Jeanette?
Second.
Second, Bob. Any discussion? Roll call, beginning with Jeanette.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Phil.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
And Tom.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Item H, presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution releasing a real estate mortgage under the 2009 Community Development Block Grant Owner Occupied Residential Rehabilitation Program. Boy, that's a mouthful. The property owner received the maximum $24,999 in funding assistance through a 5-year forgivable loan. The property owner now wishes to sell her home. Under the program, 20% of the loan has been forgiven, and she has provided the remaining 20% of the loan, or $4,999.80, to the city. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved.
Scott? Second, anyone?
Second.
Tom, any discussion? A roll call beginning with Scott.
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Jeanette? Aye. And Bob?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Item I, presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the city's insurance renewal for fiscal year 2015-2016. The primary package lines of coverage will be renewed with the ICAP with some enhancements to the city's coverage. A recommendation to switch from United Heartland to Iowa Municipalities Workers' Compensation Association will result in approximately $40,000 premium savings. It is staff's recommendation City Council authorize Holmes Murphy to bind the insurance coverage as provided in their executive summary. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Tom?
Second.
Second, Jeanette. Any discussion?
Your Honor, I don't know if there's, that committee is very talented. I just don't know if anybody can comment on the wide favorable variance there on the premium.
We're switching carriers from ICAP,
Yeah.
not ICAP, from United Heartland to IMWCA, which is an Iowa League affiliate. And much like we did with ICAP earlier in the year, Iowa Community Assurance Pool, and they give us a favorable premium reduction this next year. I mean, it's pretty simple.
For like coverage, I mean.
For like coverage, absolutely.
Anyone else?
There is no changes in the benefits at all?
No, other than the two additional items, the committee recommended looking at additional excess coverage. We currently had 10 million going to 15 million. That's the max that IMWCA offers. And the second item being additional crime coverage for electronic transfer of funds. In today's world with computers and electronic crime, it seemed appropriate, while we do have the overall savings, to take a look at these two additional increases. Seemed appropriate. Other than that, we've got light coverage other than these two additions.
Thank you.
Anyone else, council? We have a motion and a second. This is a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Item J, presented for City Council's consideration is a request to authorize the issuance of a purchase order for the 2015 paint striping contract. One bid was received from Weichert Contracting in the amount of $45,545.70. An additional amount of $7,854.60 for the painting of double yellow lines was added for a total cost of $53,400.30. There is $58,000 budgeted for this project. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
That would be Phil. And Bob, you want the second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? This also is a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Item K, presented for City Council's consideration is a request to purchase property for the Mulberry Reconstruction Project. As a part of the Mulberry Reconstruction Project, it is necessary to purchase two lots belonging to John Lazio. The real estate purchase agreement has been submitted for City Council's approval. Is
So
there a
moved, Your
motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Second.
Second, Jeanette. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Item L, presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve a memorandum of understanding transferring property from Soda Rock Properties LLC to the City of Muscatine. The owner of the property, located at the north corner of Baton Rouge Road and Mulberry Avenue, is proposing to deed a portion of their property to the city for the purpose of stream bed stabilization and erosion control that will take place during the Mulberry Reconstruction Project. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Scott?
Second, Your Honor.
Second, Phil. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Item M, presented for City Council's consideration is a request to designate East 9th Street from Mulberry Avenue to Cedar Street as a one-way street. The Traffic Committee has been working with the Muscatine School District to reclassify East Ninth Street as a one-way street from Mulberry Avenue to Cedar Street to allow for safe and efficient way to drop off and pick up children at Jefferson School. City Council action is required before the reclassification can take place. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Phil?
Second.
Second, Tom. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
is this a good time to inquire if the Harrises and Mr. Miller have come to an accommodation?
I think it is a good time, Mike. Please.
I would like to have the comments, make sure they're recorded in the minutes. Because I just want it clear once that this is what's happening, you're agreeing to it, and it's a stipulation to the agreement for the school district, so.
We were offered a one-car spot. We did not come to an agreement. We were wanting 2 car spots for our second car and a guest, so we don't have to try to take the neighbor's parking or park in the parking lot that's 150 yards away. Jeff said that he could take it to the school board, but I'd kind of like to see, an answer tonight. I don't want to miss an opportunity tonight and then later on, have them say no. You have any?
Yeah, again, we're not trying to be greedy or anything, but of course, this is news to us tonight. We didn't know about it before, and we're kind of reacting as quickly as we can to it. But, like we said, there's no parking around there, and our neighbors almost always have their car in front of their house. They are self-employed sometimes, and they're not moving very often. And all those other houses on Cedar Street, they don't have driveways. So,
We're going from having all of 9th Street basically to park on to if you drive by 9th Street will now be no parking, in front of the school is no parking, in front of our house is no parking, across the street is no parking. So essentially, it's kind of like telling us, well, you can't park in your driveway, but you can go to your neighbor's driveway and park in theirs. And I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Mr. Harris, any guess you would have, likelihood, would that be in the evening after business hours and school hours?
It's basically parked up all
No, I
day
mean,
and all
if you
night.
had any guess
Oh,
for
as
this.
a guess, it would be, it could be evening or day. Autumn's grandmother and sister come over and watch the girls occasionally. If I have a day off, we'll have both cars there and guests will come over. And then
Like-
evening, you always have guests.
yeah.
I'd move that we table this action until the school district takes appropriate, whatever they decide.
For a second?
I'd second that.
Thank you for your.
If you want a date, it'd be the first meeting in July. I assume they're gonna meet by that time.
That school
Jeff,
board.
did you want to comment?
My take on this is we are not in a position to provide parking for guests and everything else. If they're both home and they have guests over, why is it up to the taxpayers to provide a spot for that guest? I don't think any of us have that. And the second question is, if Mr. Harris is at work, that stall should be open for the babysitter or anybody else to pull into. So my suggestion is I would rather not table it, because I'm going to tell you this, I don't see us moving forward with another stall. I mean, we're trying to accommodate the homeowners, not the guests and everyone else. And we do have a brand-new parking lot that has over almost 100 stalls. And yes, it's about 100 feet away. But if,
Wait a minute.
or 100 yards,
You say
100 yards away.
You say
excuse
100
me,
feet.
100 yards away. I misspoke. So my feeling from the school district is, I think we have tried to accommodate them, and we're not in a position to accommodate guests and everybody else.
but for regular people, you're not providing me with additional parking, but you're also not requesting that Mulberry Avenue go in one direction.
I
I
understand
see
that.
that is a restriction.
And I
Also
completely understand that, but the other thing that needs to fall in line here is when you move next to a school, and the Harrisons and I had a nice conversation. You move next to a school evolves, it changes, and, you know, I'm not trying to be insensitive to their needs. You're gonna have a hard time going back and saying, well, we're giving you one, now we're gonna give you two. If you'd like to table it, that's fine, I'll go back, but
Your Honor.
Well, actually, the discussion on the tabling should have ceased according to
Yeah.
Robert's rules, so
Well, yeah,
I'd call
you're
the
right.
question on the table action.
We have a motion and a second on that. You want to do a
Roll call.
roll call? Okay, let's do this roll call, beginning with Mike.
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Jeanette?
Aye.
Bob?
Nay.
Scott?
Aye.
And Phil?
Aye.
So that's 5 ayes and 1 nay. So we're going to go ahead and have
Tabled it.
continued discussion.
okay,
It's tabled, yeah.
Tabled.
It's tabled, yes.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
No,
Not at this point.
it's done.
Why, what?
You're finished for now.
Wait, I mean, that's up to you, that's up to the mayor, I guess.
Okay, let's move along to item N. Presented for city council's consideration is a request to issue a purchase order for barricades and sawhorses. 5 quotes were received for these purchases, with the low quote from TAPCO in the amount of $19,616.50. There is $19,900 budgeted for these purchases. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Phil?
Second.
Second, Scott. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Item O, presented for city council's consideration is a request to enter into an agreement for the design of Diana Queen Drive. It is necessary to hire a consultant to perform the design work for this project. Martin and Whitaker has submitted a proposal of $11,300. The proposal has been reviewed by the city staff, and staff is recommending that council take action to accept the proposal. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Tom?
Second, Your Honor.
Second, Phil. Any discussion?
What's the status of sidewalks along this section? Is that included in the part of the project, both sides?
Yes.
Are they 5 foot wide, or are we going with the standard, what was 4 foot?
They're gonna be 5 foot wide. It might also include some portion of it being wide enough to accommodate a trail.
Okay,
That's still the discussion that needs to happen, to sort that detail out.
okay.
But 5 foot is the new standard.
Well, that's what I thought, but I didn't know what was in the area. I thought it was 4 foot, but that's fine. Thank you.
Another sidewalk question, I think on one of the aerial views, it looked like on the steamboat, there's sidewalk on one side, not the other, but there'll be some arrangement to connect those up, or? Just, oh, on the steamboat,
So as part of the sidewalk program?
yes.
Yes, the intent is to only put it on one side where it's shown.
Okay.
It's already existing only on one side, correct? On Steamboat Way.
Yes, someone needs to take the microphone.
The question is on Steamboat Way. And as part of the 2015 sidewalk program, only one side of that will have the sidewalk extended out to the end. The other side is, the judgment call was made that there really is very little chance anything ever develops out there. and really no need for it. So that will have it, but Diana Queen, which was the question that came before, will be on both sides.
Both sides there, okay.
Yes.
So when you do the extension, the sidewalks are gonna be both sides all the way around to a point, and then where it intersects with the current steamboat, then the sidewalk is gonna stop, and there'll be a section that's not in, correct? I didn't look at the
You'll be able to
plan.
walk on a sidewalk all the way around there. It's just on the last little piece of Steamboat Way. There'll only be sidewalk on one side, towards
much
the
is
detention
missing?
basin, that side.
So how much is missing? You have an approximate 100 feet, 300 feet, 1,000 feet?
How much, you mean the length of what's on the other side? How much of that is
How much is the
not in?
gap gonna be when you're done?
How much of the gap is the gap going to be?
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying, because there's no gap. I mean, the Steamboat Way will hook into Diana Queen, and Diana Queen will come on around and hook into the system on the other side of Diana Queen. It's just that Steamboat Way for the last, let's just call it the last block there, where there's nothing either side of it, will only have a sidewalk on one side.
And so,
So the length of that,
in order to have it on two sides all the way through the entire development,
okay,
how much is,
you guys would be happy with just a guess? I think it's about
yeah.
300 feet.
okay, how about if we include that as part of the project?
Certainly, if that's the council's will, we could do that.
The problem is we run into situations, one is over on Tanglefoot off of Hauser Street. When we did Hauser Street, the residents were paying for the sidewalk, if I remember correctly, and we declined to put sidewalk back Tanglefoot the 120 feet, and then there was a section, and then there wasn't a section, and so the kids are out in the street. The other side is technically undeveloped, which I can accept no sidewalk, but
Isn't that what he's saying, that the?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't.
is that truly undeveloped?
Yeah.
And
I
what is it-
really don't, it's, in my opinion, I doubt, I don't see anything ever going in there. There's very little room to
is
do
it
anything,
de-
and it's up
okay,
against the
is it
bypass.
developable? Is that a word?
No.
No.
If you want
It is a
my,
word, and the answer is no.
Doubtful. Then if it's not developable, you're not able to,
You can't build anything.
there's not gonna be anything built there, then I think we ought to have a sidewalk there.
I don't know that we lock or lock ourselves up with this. If you guys want to take a look at it to see if it's truly developable, or the space that's there, and whether you would like it to, we could always add it into the contract while that contract's in motion.
Well,
So, I don't believe it's a
what
decision
we're
that has to
talking
be done
about
now.
is a design bid, right? So what if they gave us a design and gave us the option in that design to show, both alternatives?
And then and then there's a alternate priced,
Sure.
so we can decide when the contract is awarded that we
Or is
want
that- is
to
that a
do the
problem?
alternate and.
Let me put this over in front of me.
Okay.
I still want to make sure we're talking about it.
Let's take a look.
Okay. This is the piece that we're gonna design, we're gonna hook those two together, and there's gonna be
Right.
sidewalks on both sides of this to hook it together.
Yeah, is it,
As part of the sidewalk program, we're gonna bring this sidewalk here along Steamboat, just out to here, and hook this in. This over here, the bypass is right in.
And nothing right
About
there.
here, there's
And
just
nothing
nothing
over
that
here.
goes in there, so I just wanna make sure that we're talking.
The bypass
same
is right
animal.
over here?
Yes, I mean, it's very close, I don't know.
And you're suggesting if it's probably nothing gonna happen there, there is no need for a sidewalk. That's what you're, yes.
But again, if council wants to look at that.
And there's no sidewalk along here on this side because it's not developed yet.
On this side, yes.
You're
Now,
correct,
there's-
in this
There's
area.
currently no sidewalk here, but this sidewalk, this owner is on the hook to put in, and they are in the process of doing
Bidding that.
Bidding that.
From this point to here, or their boundary property line.
Anybody else want to see that?
Well, eventually, the section across from the nursing home, as it develops, will have sidewalk. correct?
Say it one more time, Phil.
The section across from the nursing home on the
Yes.
west side,
Yes,
when developed, will have sidewalks.
yes,
And the sidewalk will be on both sides of the new section,
yes,
correct?
yes.
And so I don't see any reason why we shouldn't go ahead and finish up. Bid it as an alternate, but I want to see it, I'd like to see it come back to council, and council can say yay or nay. We can make that decision at that point.
We can certainly do that. We know what those unit prices are. We can tell you fairly quickly what that additional
I
cost would be.
figured that.
Okay.
You're right.
So where are we at on this item?
Call the question. We have a motion and a second, don't we?
We need to vote.
Pardon?
We have a motion and a second, don't we?
Yes, we do. Phil, you want to make a motion to table this item?
Nope. I'm we're basically with our discussion about having a bid as an alternate. That's fine. That way this can come back to council and the council can go yay or nay. We want to make sure there's sidewalk both sides all the way up.
Okay, you have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Item P, which is a request to approve cemetery steps agreement. Is there a motion to approve the cemetery steps agreement?
So moved.
Bob? Second, anyone?
Second.
Was that you, Mike?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Item Q, presented for City Council's consideration, is a request to approve cemetery trust fund agreement. In order to meet state code requirements, it has been determined by the Iowa Insurance Division that a cemetery trust fund agreement is necessary to formalize the city's trustee responsibilities for the cemetery perpetual care funds. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved.
Mike?
Second.
Second, Bob. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Okay, dropping down to item 14, communication from council members, beginning with Councilman Raywell.
Just a question. Greg, you mentioned computer security. Do you need any software, hardware, anything else to make sure our system is secure as it could possibly be?
No, I'm just thinking, historically, any issues we've had have all been paper related, and going forward, whether that's accounts receivable or whatever it might be, it just seems appropriate to have better coverage for electronic coverage. But no, I think John does a good idea, and he hasn't recommended anything additional at this point in time.
Okay. If you're secure, that's good.
Phil?
Thank you.
I think your time.
Scott?
I have nothing, thank you.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Jeanette?
I'd just like to say hi to Bill Trent. I think he used to sit in this chair right here. Welcome back.
Now,
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Greg?
Just a reminder, we have a closed session, Your Honor.
Fran?
Nothing, Your Honor.
And I have nothing. Moving to item 15, which is a request to enter closed session per Iowa Code 21.5 to discuss potential litigation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Scott?
Second.
Second, Tom. No discussion needed. We are moving
Roll
to
call.
closed session.
Roll call.
Oh, roll call. Jeez, what am I thinking?
I don't know.
Scott?
Aye.
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
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 Now we're in.
I missed something.
Wow. Okay. We'll catch you. Hey, Dave?